Я почекаю, поки там.
Що почекай, я вже запустив. Алло, да. Раз, два, три. Всем привет. Короче, сегодня смотрим,
Привет.
сегодня смотрим нового бога. Вот.
Сейчас я чат себе тоже открою.
Сейчас я зупиню
Ага.
демочку. Вот. Вам должно, короче, вы должны меня все слышать. Все должно быть заебись.
И чат.
Моего друга тоже должно быть слышно. Короче, все должно быть заебись. А,
Ух
блядь,
ты.
я чатик
Прикольная
только не
заставка.
открыл. Сейчас чатик открою. Ой, блядь. Сегодня мы смотрим, короче, на нового бога. Чернобог, первая славянская хуйня. Сейчас посмотрим, что они заебашили. Сейчас вот только... Все должно... От себя только отключу, нахуй. А, ну как слышно, кстати? Короче, все должно быть заебись. А, блядь, я чатик
Прикольная
только не
заставка.
открыл. Сейчас чатик открою.
Бармен Сэмди.
Так,
Я буду.
короче.
Прикольный
Здорово, здоров. Подтягивайтесь по чуть-чуть. Сейчас будем начинать. Они сейчас... Так, блядь, стоп. Я не включил их трансляцию. Все,
Йоу.
они только
Прикольно.
начали, короче.
В огонь и вулкане.
Я тоже только начал. Вот. Ебашим. Вот сейчас здесь мой друг сидит, он меня не слышит, я микро выключил, короче. Сейчас я все. Запускай бырей. Что запускай бырей? В смысле? Я уже все запустил, нахуй. Ты не волнуйся. Вот, я сейчас вот так. Вот так сделаю. Вот. Вам должно все видно быть, короче, да? Теперь вот это открываем. Так, и вот так. Вот. Если я сделаю на фулочку, то вам должно быть видно, да? Вот я делаю вот так. И все видно? Да, все видно, короче, все заебись. Все заебись. Сейчас я чатик себе еще выведу. Ну, чатик вам тоже будет мой видно, так что простите, пожалуйста. Так, вот, все, нахуй, я запустился, все заебись. Все должно быть видно, короче, слышно. Заходите, чекайте, скажите, говорите, как, чё.
Прикольно.
Что прикольно, они только начали.
Я знаю, просто он рассказывает, что они, короче, какого-то чувака попросили, что пишет книги по Вархаммере, чтобы он написал короткие истории про каждого из богов, там какой-то типа ивент или что будет. Там будет три бога. Этот Чернобог, какой-то Вуду будет какой-то барон, и еще третий...
Барон Суббота, вроде так.
Да, барон Самодень, и еще Виллоу, Чипилоу, бог в огня и вулкане. Я не знаю, что...
Вот, я сделал его чуть потише, то он сильно был. Вот. Он у нас сегодня как переводчик. Так, по идее, все работает, да? Вот сейчас так вот. Это нужно открыть.
Ну, 50 гема будет раздаваться за 3 квеста. Если с богами объедете 3 квеста с каждым, и каждый, если ты 3 сделаешь, дает 50 гем.
Are purchasing or buying anything in the event or participating at all, every player will get these.
And
we're doing this in a little more streamlined fashion this time. You won't have to go to the event UI or start anything.
Ну, еще рассказывай, что квесты типа простые.
Whether you participate in the event or not, you will get these quests and you will get free gems. And we're going to do that for all 3 chapters.
So that's just some quests, but there's also some new skins that are going to be coming out with this as well, specific to this.
Right. Yes. So
еще за квесты дают скины.
Понял, сейчас.
Эксклюзивный на Чернобога. О, вот. Это звезды будет даваться за те кусты, да? Ну, наверное, чтобы получить, нужно еще что-то купить, как всегда. Ага.
Вот,
Белого
новый
еще.
скин. Влад, извиняйте, что я так вот с задержечкой.
Прикольно, еще в каждой стойке разный цвет. Разные броня.
Т5 Белона, прикольно, да.
Прикольно, да.
А, тебе ничего не нагадывает молот Белоны?
Какой именно из этих?
Огненный,
молот.
молот.
Похож на какой-то...
Т5 Анубиса. Лицо.
Да, может быть.
Так, сейчас, секунду.
You know, we always trying to mix up our events. We want to do things new. We want to keep it fresh. We want to try new structures and new types of content.
Так, Smite
So we
можно
really
пока
wanted to go
закрыть, да?
very different this summer.
Right.
Since we were doing all the new gods, we wanted to tie the event into the gameplay. Really make it feel complete. So what you have here is 3 chapters. You complete each chapter, you'll get the exclusive skin for the new god.
Блин, что-то выглядит все очень вкусно, этот ивент. Я надеюсь, что демон, чтобы заплатить.
If you get all 3, then you get the tier 5 Bologna.
Yeah.
So get all 3.
Ясно. Это как день рождения они делали, как с Аидом, все так же. Скупаешь все, получаешь ты 5 белон.
Ты 5 белона крутая, Рили. Вот
Да,
очень.
неплохо.
Right. Okay. That makes some sense.
That makes a lot more sense. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's gonna be so basically it's a whole gonna be like over the season. How long is this gonna last? It's gonna be like a couple of months, I guess.
9 patches.
Yeah, 9 patches.
9 patches.
Or 9 updates.
3 Slavic, 3 Voodoo, 3 Polynesian.
You get quests in those that you can buy skins in, and then it's
you'll see it when you get to the UI. It's all nicely laid out. It's a very consistent cadence to it all. So there'll be a Divine Uprising update every update for the next 9 patches.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds
and
really
there's
good.
2 new skins for each patch.
That's gonna be great.
So, and if you go on the UI, you can actually like.
And it's all
Ну, вообще баланс будет.
Зайди, пожалуйста, на стрим, скажи, Ли, все нормально.
It's gonna be fantastic to see that. Well, that's
Yeah.
Да.
That's enough of that for now. We're gonna head over though to Agro and Pon, who are standing by to do balance.
Thank you very much, guys.
Сейчас про баланс начнут.
Where we do the
Да,
balance
я
stuff.
уже
This is what
думаю.
I'm always most excited for, though.
Как там на стриме?
Здесь все норм.
Skins right away, but I want to know what's
Все
going
норм на
on.
стриме?
Браузер,
That's what we're
возьми
gonna do.
браузер
Agro
в
joined by
полный
Pon.
экран.
Я полный экран браузер сделал.
With some
Окей, ну,
items. Now, what is
просто там чуть
the
класса было все видно.
you got a
Вот.
general
Если я делаю на весь
philosophy
экран, то
for us
все
here around
нормально.
these changes?
Вот.
Not so much something that ties a whole bunch of these changes together. We're really just looking at what's overperforming
Все
right
слышно,
now,
только Twitch
taking it
может
down,
немного
what's
громче.
underperforming, bring it up.
Кого громче?
There's a few items that
Twitch, стрим.
have really been kind
Понял.
of hard to really fit into a build, and so a lot of changes are targeted towards making them better. And then a few of them
Сейчас
just
баланс
don't
итема
perform
будет,
as
короче.
well.
Давай будешь
Perfect,
ебашить,
well,
ты у
let's
нас
start
сегодня
right
комментатор.
there. First one on our
Это
list is
стартовый
Evolved
ничего.
Warrior's
Это
Blessing. This saw a
стартовый,
bit of a change
понял,
coming
да?
in to Season 5 after the initial part of it. Got a buff, now a nerf. The decreased protections gained on evolving this item from 15 down to 10 for each. So
Да.
now you're still getting the same amount of sustain. You still have that great passive before
No.
it gets evolved. But now you're not quite as
много было.
unkillable once
Чё,
it gets
нормально.
evolved.
Yeah, early into the season when things were really being shaken up, it caused there were a lot of experimentation, and so Warrior's Blessing was being
Типа не
underutilized.
особо
And
будет
players
сильно
slowly
разница.
realized how
Не,
Скин
ну
только
не,
началка.
не сильно, но все равно его будет покупать. Его покупает ради хила, там много
and
хила.
it started getting more and more picked up. We made a change to make sure that it was a very strong warrior item for people to pick in the soul lane, but a little bit too hard in that direction. And after seeing it play out for the rest of the season, or the first part of the split, we're bringing down some of the buffs we gave it that patch to make sure it's a bit more in line. If you want to flex into other starter choices to be like maybe really more aggressive with like Mage's Blessing, we're going to let you do that more often, but we want to make sure Warrior's in a good spot. It became in a very good spot, toned it down a bit.
Makes sense. All right, next up on the list, we've got Oni Hunter's Guard. Now, this is an exciting one. It got a change coming into Season 5, but now we're just kind of making it a little bit more user-friendly. The current passive, you have to be around 3 enemies to make it work. Now you've got a chance you'll get incremental buffs as you're surrounded by more and more enemies. At the end of the day, if you're surrounded by 3 enemies, you get 6% damage mitigation.
Это началка охотников, да?
This is only 1,900 gold,
не знаю.
It's a lot. So yeah, this was one of those items that had a low
броня,
passive
помнишь,
effect, but it was so
зелененькая?
situational to
Привет,
trigger that
Вит.
it was hard to actually
Привет.
utilize well.
Мы тут смотрим.
Зелененькая была такая броня, что если возле тебя 3 противника, ты получаешь 6% уменьшения дамага. А теперь сделали так, что за каждого ты получаешь по 2%. Ну, это хороший баф.
Я понял, секунду, я чекну свой стрим, а то у меня что-то лагает. Вот тебе не лагает стрим?
Сейчас чекну.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing quite a bit more of that.
Хз, мне стрим
Coming
лагает.
to a solo lane
Типа, он
Guardian
стоит.
near you. Next up, a Soul Reaver
Сейчас изменю все.
nerf. Actually made a
Soul
couple of
Reaver,
adjustments to this item
Soul
a couple
Reaver
patches
изменили.
ago.
На 100
Now
голды.
we're taking one of those away, increase the cost from 2650 up to 2750. Just finding this item be
Правильно,
optimal in the third
Секунду, сейчас.
item slot felt a little bit too oppressive to others.
Нормально.
Это теперь очень крутой предмет.
2300, but I want to get right to the meat and potatoes here. New
Если
passive.
больше, чем
Anytime you would be
20%
dealt
твоих хп
more than
наносит, на 10%
20% of your
уменьшается урон.
maximum health by a
Даже на
single
танках можно
magical
покупать.
damage
Просто
source.
урон
That damage
собирать.
is instead
Вообще
reduced by
круто.
10%. Basically, if you're taking
Без
more than
пулба.
20%, you get 10% off of that. But the
Знаешь,
exciting
эта
thing here
штука,
is
что
this effect has
если
no cooldown.
больше
You know, against a
30%
god like
КП сносит,
he
Да.
hitting you for more than 20%
теперь,
with 3 different
если
abilities,
наносит
this
больше,
can
чем
be quite
20%,
Yeah,
урон уменьшается на 10%, который нанесся, типа. Понял?
Да,
И без
понял.
кулдауна. Ну, без кулдауна это жестко.
Да, без кулдауна это классно, да. Согласен.
И баф там довольно-таки приличный. И вещь неплохая, там вроде 40 защиты, 60 мах силы, это
Да,
еще КП
там
дает.
неплохой вещь, рели.
Еще ее сделали на 200 гилды дешевле, это на что там, 2300 или что? Вообще круто. Дешево.
Да,
Прикольно.
все нормально. Отлично. Ебашим, короче.
Yep, you got that. Yep.
The lower cost really helps you fit into a build, and the new passive structure makes it so that when you pick this up, you can rely a bit more that this passive is actually going to be helping you over the course of the
А, это
So
все.
it's not quite as strong against the big burst ultimates like the
buff
Thoth ult or the Hawa
да.
ult, but
Сейчас
against
посмотрим.
those that are going to be consistently pinging you for 25% of your health,
На
30% of
стриме
your
же
health,
все нормально.
this is going to be a lot
И так
better.
что
So again, I think an item that was
Уже нормально всё на стриме, да?
underpurchased
Да,
specifically
да.
against
Я
the
плюс
big burst
50%
gods.
Все плавно.
Could see some more of it there.
Может,
That already does it
качество
for item balance. Pretty short.
лучше,
Да,
Now
чуть
we
хуже
got a little
качеством, так
graphic if you
нормально.
somehow
Да ладно,
missed
нормально,
that
пойдет.
item balance section.
Что здесь
You know, Pon,
смотреть?
this is weird, okay? That buff item that's
Стоп.
against mages.
А Soul River
buff
дороже
that,
сделали?
nerf
Да, на
Soul
Soul
River,
River.
that's
Ну.
for mages. And
Да,
then
нормально,
Soul
это
River
Да,
kind
в
of
принципе, да, потому
against
что вы
mages
вначале
as well.
покупали очень
What's
часто.
going on here? We have a bunch of mage players working at high-res. What's the point if we don't get our class buffed, Pon?
We had the
Еще не
minor
определился.
revolts of the
На
anti-mage.
10%.
Gotta get back to
there.
work. I just expect with that many mage changes that Zeus is going to be getting a massive buff later on here. Well, you'll have to
Я не
wait
знаю почему, но
for that.
у меня, походу, задержка.
No?
Потому что что
Это третий скилл, да?
No, we'll start it off with you. If you're
ты
taking
смотришь быстрее, чем я почему-то сейчас.
Да, это третий скилл.
Чувак, у тебя быстрее трансляция
I
идет, чем
think
у
the big
меня.
focus here
Ну,
is he's a
Ахиллес.
character
О,
that-
Ахиллеса, да-да-да.
He's a character that really
Третий скилл по
excels
нерфу.
on getting early pressure out,
Ну,
especially
правильно.
with his unarmed stance.
Совсем
He can get
чуть-чуть.
in there, really
А
mix
там
up,
еще
and he can come on top in
базовую
almost all
базовую уменьшили на
circumstances.
10.
But his late game,
Ну,
his mid
хотя бы
and late game
что-то.
starts falling off,
10
especially
от
if he
базы,
has a early lead.
10%.
So any
Ну,
adjustment
хотя
to
бы
his
еще
early game
что-то
is going to
такое.
bring
Да.
him down pretty significantly in terms
Это
of
лучше,
his
чем
overall
ничего.
power through the course of the game. The reduced wave clear
А
that he
еще
gets from shooting
вот
Achilles,
здесь
that
рейтинг.
spread damage that he gets on the back minions, especially if someone's playing back in the back line,
За
them
мне
taking less
какой-то,
damage is going to be pretty significant to lower his kill potential because he really wants to get them to
Чуть
execute range.
квадратик.
right.
As well as the double damage from the dash early on, it was, I believe, 130 damage.
Может,
That going
Smite
to
выключить?
110.
Yes.
We tried
Я
to put that
выключу
on the
Smite.
minion wave as
А
well
что такое?
as the opponent god. That's just a
знаю,
lot of
я
damage off
только
his
что
wave clear,
зашел,
a lot of
чуть-
damage from his clear, and
Все очень вылезло.
from his clear and
Все очень вылезло.
the opponent god.
Yes.
We tried
Я
to put that
выключу
on the
Smite.
minion wave as
А
well
что
as
такое?
the opponent god. That's just a
знаю,
lot of
я
damage off
только
his
что
wave
зашел,
clear, a lot of
чуть-
damage from his
Ну, хз, у меня все нормально.
Жесть. А, наверное, мне
and
просто
then
качество
kind of
плохое
managing the
поставилось.
early game. You get the mid and late game where he starts being a little bit less effective.
All right,
Не,
there
ну,
you have it,
я
chat.
откуда
Achilles
знаю.
nerf. Do we have to do anything else? Everyone should be
Да,
happy.
все нормально,
All right,
нормально.
That's it?
We still got some more.
We still got a lot more. That's only
Yeah.
A, chat.
That's
Don't
A.
get baited by me. We actually have another A god right here, Aphrodite, getting a change. It's really just a buff, actually, not really a change.
Aphrodite?
Decrease the cooldown on
Aphrodite,
Kiss
да.
if you hit an ally. Right now it's 3 seconds. This is going down to 1 second. So you're going to be
Yes.
able to switch targets very often.
вот
And I'm going to
вот
get
это
ahead of the
очень
chat here,
хорошая
Pon.
штука.
Why don't we just do any of the thousands of targeter suggestions that Reddit throws at us all the time, huh?
So the big thing is
Это
the
прикольно,
targeters,
если
right?
ты типа
We've talked
целуешь
about this a lot, and the
союзника,
idea is, well, what if
КД
you do with some Wukong
уменьшается.
targeter? You always
Right.
have to
Типа,
go over where you're
меньше
going
КД.
to
Это
aim
хорошо.
But that
Почему я
causes
должен
where
тратить
it's a
все
situation
КД
where
на
you're
то,
trying to
чтобы
cast
с
something, you
союзником
could miss
сосаться?
faster
Это
really
правильно.
quickly.
Ну, в принципе,
There's
да.
other things like
Ну.
where you
Хилится
if you could
быстрее,
pass
все
through
нормально.
stun and go to your ally always, you could always get the stun and link. But that makes it a now pass through stun that is very
Right.
powerful. Maybe lock on works. Well, now it has to be a lock on stun because you can have a lock on and a line targeter working that functionality. And so after reviewing all the options, user case scenarios, making sure it felt fluid on any control scheme that you're using, really just this ability to link immediately to the target that you want to go to, and then have a very low cooldown so that if maybe you did want to stun someone off, you can link to your ally, do the knockback, and then get ready to immediately stun that target. Making it so that you never feel bad about linking to a target because
Ну,
your cooldown
ясно,
will be
он
so
тупо
low anyways afterwards.
говорит, типа,
Really
почему ты
use
так
how you
сделал, что ты можешь
I
присосаться
think
к
that makes a
одному
lot of sense.
откинуть, дальше от другого похилить,
Specifically with
потом
that Sun
опять.
Wukong style targeter
Ну,
with the
это
70
правильно, это
transformations,
должно
I
быть.
think the weird playability of trying to hit someone far away but having to aim up close to yourself, I agree
Yeah.
that just doesn't quite mesh with how it should feel, and I think this change is going to make it feel phenomenal. You're going to be kissing, healing, then you kiss your next teammate, hit the 2. This one needs the ult.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It also just, it's not even the situation where you want to kiss an ally and then kiss an enemy to CZ them, right? Like, you can choose, okay, this person needs a knockback, this person needs a heal, this person needs an ultimate. You can swap between them really dynamically, and that's going to allow really good aftervalue players to really use this weapon.
Yeah, I'm excited, but maybe not, because playing against Afro makes me a little bit sad sometimes. That's just like she's good against Zeus. Anyway, Guan Yu is next up on the list. I'm always on the Zeus thing, Pon. It never stops. This isn't a bit. I'm obsessed with Zeus. We'll move on. Guan Yu is next up on the list. A big change here, a couple of them. First one, his basic attack chain is getting a lot of different changes. Now, the third hit of this chain is going to apply a cleave, a la Nike or Osiris that have those as a part of it. And then the last hit of his hit chain, the range has been increased from 12 to 16. So this is going to help his auto attack clear, but his auto chain already does a ton of damage.
Yeah, so this is a few things. One, it just kind of matches the animations better. He has this like swoop and then swoop and then a big slash and then an overhead reach. And it always felt kind of weird that big
и урон увеличили
a
тоже.
lot of the characters have similar animations. And that long reach, it didn't have the longer range, even though it looks like
это правильно. У него реально очень быстрые
so we
атаки были.
increased the range of that last hit so that matches more the animation. Although that does mean that there's a few outer areas that can be hit because it's a cone. But it does more match the ranged reach that it has, as well as the cleave is going to really help him both in, if you want to play him in the jungle role, you can actually now use that to clear in the jungle, because that's what I'm always on.
Do you think DJ Pernicus is watching right now?
Yeah, he's probably really happy with this.
Get ready. Cleave auto attacks. Guan Yu jungle coming to a place near you, because also he gets a passive change.
The other thing,
go ahead.
So,
sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, the passive is really exciting, though. The big thing here is, though, in the solo lane, right, if you're using Tower Assault, your wave clear is very good. But if that ever gets interrupted for any reason, you can have a problematic time actually clearing the wave. Now you can actually be aggressive with that, group up the minions, and use that third cleave to really help augment your clear so you don't fall behind other characters that can really interrupt you. So this both helps him kind of make more sense with his basic attack chain, but also helps him perform significantly better in the solo lane or even in jungle if that's what you want to do.
Support as well, I think we could see some more of, because this passive change is nutty.
It's great.
Get ready. Now, before you use an ability once your passive got stacked up and it would consume all the stacks, no longer. That's a relic of the past. Now, whenever your passive is stacked, it's staying stacked as long as you stay in combat. That means the super boosted heals, the super slow, the super prot shred, the ult. You could use all of those in quick succession and keep it going throughout the combat. Guan Yu wants to stay in combat as long as possible anyways. I think this is going to be a massive change for this
Yes, this helps him both. You can actually really focus on the bonus effects.
Типа, у него пассивка скидывается не когда ты юзаешь скилл, а когда ты выходишь из боя. То есть ты настакал ее и можешь больше брони получать из третьего скилла, больше хилить от первого, там, замедлять и станет больше ультой, замедлять вторым скиллом. Блин, это очень круто, что не только одна эпилка юзается.
Ну, так кажется, что войны и так сильные, зачем еще Абригон, Ювон?
Не, ну...
Нет, это жестко вылет.
He's receiving a bit of a buff
Нет,
as well.
реально слабая была. Только хилить мне, и то. Где хила КД должен скилл какой-то юзать, и ты уже пассивку тратишь там в большинстве, жаль, в сравнении с хилом, который в 2 раза увеличивается, там, бафы не больше.
Up to 30 extra damage, ending at 280. Max rank. This is just kind of covering one of Capri's weaknesses. He has bad
Там еще
initiation.
стан
This will help him
увеличили
out
тоже.
a little bit.
Ну, 0,2 секунды такое, типа.
Типа третьего скилла, да, или что?
Because there's a few people out, that's more time to engage on there. And the base damage increase, why it's pretty minor, it's not like an above 300 base damage ability. Just that bonus damage that he contributes to a team fight can mean the difference between someone actually dying versus not dying in a late game team fight. It matches more with other guarding kind of base damage abilities that they have. So the root combined with that base damage is just going to help him really solidify himself as a strong engager, a strong poker that can actually throw out that root if he really needs to. And be effective with it.
Perfect. Next up, another Guardian
говорят,
on
что
the list.
добавили 30 урона, ну все. Теперь он сможет помогать дамагам, все,
it says here, but this looks like a pretty good buff to me. The Water Bowl, his passive, increasing the per stack damage mitigation from 1% to 1.5%. So overall, this means that you can go from your maximum damage mitigation.
Ну, блять, это бред, честно. Они апают воинов и танков, ну, такое.
Жесть. Представьте пассивку Зембу, которая мешает дамаг, да? Собрать еще эту новую, измененную броню, что на 2% за каждого врага, да? Еще эту броню, что если больше 20%, еще на 10% дамаг увеличивает. Зачем мне броня, если у меня есть увеличение дамага?
At every single rank. But then we've also decreased the mana cost. Now it'll just be 50 at all ranks. And here's the big one.
This is
Now,
great.
whenever you hit a Kuzenbo with shell spikes, you may not kill yourself from the damage itself, but you're resetting the cooldown of his sumo slam. Right now, it only decreases cooldown off the 1. Now it'll be the 1 and the 3.
Yes.
So he's going to be moving you around, tossing out little turtles all over the place.
Yeah, so I think the big overarching goal for these
Шипы,
changes
как
were,
только
he was really frustrating
Капа...
to fight against because
Что
that shell
делает?
spike,
Атачит или что?
but it also, he didn't really contribute much to the team fight outside that shell spikes, right? So it was frustrating to play against, but he also just didn't contribute enough. So the damage mitigation is going to help him actually stay engaged in the fight. It means that he can actually get in there and use his reflect and not die immediately. And that also means that when he engages, there's his Nanocap out, Sumo Slam,
наоборот.
he's going to be doing it
Шипы
all over
уменьшают
if you keep hitting
кулдаун.
him. So he
Если
wants to
его
be in the
встретить
middle,
свой
he wants to
первый.
be taking incidental damage. All these changes help him get into that goal, and then if he plays well, he gets to Sumo Slam another person, or Sumo Slam another person, and keep going throughout the fight.
Ну, блядь, типа...
That's going to be something.
Такое.
Я не знаю,
No, Kuzenbo is a lot of fun.
цифр.
I kid.
Как оно уменьшает, на сколько секунд, что-то ничего не понятно.
Soon enough. Soon enough.
Я не понял, что это делать,
Nemesis up
честно.
next, receiving a nerf. This one is going to be on slice and dice, but decreasing the damage at 10 at all ranks. But it may not look like much. You're not getting hit for 160 at max ranks. Remember that middle cone of slice and dice doubles her damage. So this is actually more impactful than it looks like at first.
Да,
Yeah,
это
so
рывок.
this is a change that we
тем
made a
более.
while back
Для
to
рывка
her
минус
increase the
10
slice and dice
дамага.
damage. Back then she was struggling to be
Такое
anything
себе.
more than a character
Ну,
that just brought an ultimate to the
Чисто
fight.
корректировка.
Clear, we upped her scaling so
ХЗ.
she'd be more of assassin when she built offensive. And that worked really well during the time, but then we went to season 5 where jungle clear rates matter a lot
Там
more.
Немезида,
and
потому что если добивает
burst became a lot more
рывком,
important. People were
там
dying
вообще
a lot quicker.
лоу-лоу-лоу, там
And so that
10
base
хп
damage that we gave her and the
плюс-минус.
scaling we gave her really let her shine, and she became a very, very contested pick. We've done a few things like adjust the ultimate to bring it more into line with other things. We've done some item targeted changes, and we wanted to see how all that shook out because she's a character that is traditionally really sensitive to balance.
Yes.
And
Ну,
so
Немезида
now
очень
with
сейчас
all those changes kind of aside,
нерфили
she's still pretty good.
Нерфили
Turns
вот
out.
его.
Yeah, so
Все-
base damage is
Ну,
going
это
down.
правильно.
This means
Она
the
очень
burst
сильная
potential
сейчас.
she has early on is going to be lower.
Ну да,
The
но-
clear rate she has is going to be lower. She's going to have to spend more
ХЗ,
time
ну,
healing.
не через
So
ульту
her
и
ability to like
рывок.
really clear something in aggressive lane really early is going to be limited. So she's going to have to focus more on making sure her ults are really good, her engages are really good, and finding
Изменения
really the
много
right option to
щит
get to the
жестко.
backline, less the person gets away
А
and
мне
doesn't die,
урон
and
от
she does.
рывка.
All right, there you go. That's
Ну,
Nemesis
ладно,
for you
окей.
guys. Next up, another
Хоть нефть.
nerf that I think a lot of people were probably expecting. Terra up next on the list. Revert, this first one is a revert, though.
Да,
Used
мы
to be the
ждали.
monolith was at 3, then we upped
В
it to
принципе,
5 when we
ничего
removed the root.
удивительного.
Well, the root came back. It stayed
да,
at
только
5
это
hits to
ничего
destroy
не
the
поможет.
monolith, so now we're
Ну, точно
bringing
такое.
that
Может
back in
еще что-то
line.
покажет.
3 hits to destroy the monolith, just as
Я
it was
так
last
теперь,
time.
чтобы
Make sure that you have a
разрушить.
counterplay
Но
option
все равно
against
это,
her, right?
блин,
She can't just throw that up and
не
then
успеешь.
right
Разве
now
что
if you
влетит
decide to
на
actually attack,
Такое.
she just dashes in and she has plenty of time to make
Не,
a
ну,
decision.
раньше
Now,
его
if she
разрушить
chooses to focus it now, she
просто
really decides
Unreal
she's
было.
getting out of
Там
it.
5 автоатак дать, там
Perfect. All right,
можно
then
быстрее
Earth and Fury
дождаться в
getting
Терры,
a
когда
little
первого
bit of a
скилла,
nerf
чем
here.
5 автоатак.
Decrease the damage mitigation from 10% to 5% and the damage amplification for your team from
Ну,
10% to
ульту
5%.
понерфили.
This was a 20% swing. You
Yes.
guys were doing
О,
20%
тоже
more, they
неплохо.
were doing 20% less. Now it's down to 10%, cutting
Yes.
that in half.
So the ultimate redesign really helped her actually feel like she had a good identity in the middle of a team fight. She can pop this thing, and it's very clear what everyone needs to do now.
Yeah.
The old ultimate with this global power gave her this weird nebulous power. Now it's very clear.
Но
But
во всё
it
равно
also is very
ощутимо.
strong.
Так что
20%
всё
swing,
нормально.
like you said, is really good combined with the heal and the damage. So we're looking at that specifically, and the big thing is we're toning down that damage mitigation because while you can somewhat play around the heal and you can somewhat play around the damage being applied to yourself, that percent damage mitigation is going to apply no matter what you're doing.
Right.
And so when it's 20%, that's really extreme. It basically means that you really can't fight into that. Whereas if you're playing smart and avoiding and playing around these stone procs, the damage and the heal, you should have a reasonable chance of actually
Там
hitting
никого
her
нет.
top, even if she pops the ultimate. So this will really help players actually more contest Terra after she ults.
Perfect. Excited to see that. Next up is Thor. This one pretty exciting as well. Getting a buff to Mjolnir's Attunement. That's the hammer toss. Increase the amount of damage that the return hammer deals to minions from 50%
Большой урон по
to
миньонам.
50%. So he's been having trouble
блядь,
in early
да.
game
Ебали
clearing
с
out
этими
minion
турами
camps.
через
And it's
молот. Это
in large
просто
part
жесть.
because
Они так
the 1 doesn't
жесткие,
do a
его
lot of
еще
damage, and the 3
бафы.
doesn't do enough to clear it, and you're losing
Ну,
the
баф
opportunity
очень
to
сильный,
auto-attack
реально.
a lot
Ну
of these
да.
camps down. This will allow him to pick this up
Он и
early
так
on
сейчас
and be able to clear
сносит
camps a bit better.
Yeah, so we made a
персонажем
change to Berserker's Rod
700.
early on to help him with his clear. We reduced the cooldown.
Это еще
to
не
use
full
it.
build,
That helps
700
him
просто
somewhat,
стан,
but
кидаешь
Berserker
топорик
Rod
и
just kind of
Это урон по
you're
миньонам.
hammering it, and you're doing a good
Да,
amount of
а
damage,
тебе еще
but you're also
миньонов
not base attacking the entire
защищать.
time, which
Можно
can
просто
really limit
кинуть в
how much
кого-то,
you use your
в
active
бога
bring out
которого.
when you can.
Поэтому
And while it's a
стадия
very powerful
чутливее
ability and
закрепан,
scales
он
really well,
вернется и
you don't
убьет
have that much
типа.
scaling early
Потому
on.
что там
It's
на
225%,
80% больше
you don't have enough power items
дамагит
to really
этот
make that
крипам.
worthwhile.
назад.
So in a lot of cases, it was better just to actually hammer, use that on the camp.
Yep.
Because you're basic attacking the whole time. With this, it is almost certainly better. I believe it actually makes it so you have to one-hit these side ones, which puts it very much in line with Berserker's Barrage clear rate. So you're definitely going to want to level this up, and it just makes it very clear what he's supposed to be doing. It lets him level up his game pool as well. It should help him overall just perform more reliably in the jungle. And opens up a few options, maybe a solo lane, maybe a support role. We can support Thor every so often, but this is really targeted towards that jungle playstyle.
And I know it feels kind of crazy, right? Like we're actually going to buff Thor. I mean, that was my first reaction upon reading it, but you brought up a good point. When was the last time Thor was actually the best jungler in a meta? It's been a long, long time.
He started seeing some play, but it took like 2 seasons to get there, and it's still not like he's not really clearly the best character. He's a flex pick. He's picked every so often.
And he's a comfort pick for so many good junglers that everyone just feels like he's still one of the best, but statistically and in just actual practice, it has felt like Thor has fallen off in comparison to some other assassins. So, seems scary. Give it a try, chat. Trust me.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Vamana next up, getting a bunch of mana cost reductions. I'm just going to go down the list, and then I'll let you talk about them all at once. Clear the Path, going from 70 to 90, now 70 at all ranks, that's the dash. Armored Umbrella, that's going from 60 to 100, down to 60 to 80, so losing 20 mana at max rank.
Натворили круто, потому что у Ваманы очень быстро мана тратилась.
Off at max rank as well. So Vamana just getting a little bit more user-friendly in that you can actually play him and not just have to go back to base all the time.
Yeah, you walk into the lane, you're like, oh cool, I'm going to poke with Umbrella Ring, I'm going
to
kill him real quick. Maybe I'll dash once or twice, and
Давно
I'm
было,
back to base because I am actually out of mana. It basically meant that he really had to choose between the wave or just poking the enemy god. And in our kind of meta right now, it's basically clear the wave, and then if you do anything else, you're going to get Loom too fast. And a lot of other warriors don't have that limitation on them. They have abilities to poke and clear the wave reliable to them. And so helping Vamana actually have the mana to really poke enemy characters, use his abilities to clear the wave, and then choose when he wants to dump all of his abilities to combo with a reasonable mana cost, helps him actually perform the soul lane.
Perfect. By the way, just got to ask, how much did Homie Faye pay you for these changes? Because we're buffing Thor and Vamana, and those are like two gods he loves to play.
That's
perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Just making sure that we know that is on the record. Last up is a doozy, Chad. If you aren't sitting down, now's probably a good time. Gibalanke receiving some changes. Let's do it then. Dead of Night, the passive. This ability no longer stacks off kills. You no longer have to secure your last hits. You no longer get to rage type at your teammates that, why didn't you let me get that last hit? Now it's going off your own player damage. So you got no one to blame but yourself if your passive isn't stacked. Now you get 1 stack for every 1,000 damage dealt by Gibalanke. So it's the same amount of power, same amount of stacks. You just got to deal damage instead of securing last hits.
Yeah, so the thing you hit on it really quickly is I am a Gibalanke, I
крутой баф, крутой.
Неплохо.
Давно пора было, а то, блядь, киллы это было, ну, типа, не очень удобно.
We talked about different ways of like kind of
adjusting this system, чтобы заставить, а не во время его.
Максимум,
можно было на арене.
In the same way that like right now, if he has 2 kills early, it power spikes Gibalanke really hard, in the same way that if he doesn't get any kills, he's really weak. So just the variability that it had was just really high, and so making it work off player damage, you can reliably expect Gibalanke players
6 или 7, что-то такое.
Early is a lot slower, so it's harder to get those stacks, and as the game ramps up, you can kind of rely on Gibalanke having this power. But it also does put it in the hands of the Gibalanke players themselves. They can choose to be more aggressive. They can choose to go and poke.
Ну и при этом сделали нормально, чтобы не тиммейты наносили, а
see, again, another one of those buffs that feels a little bit scary at first, but I think you brought up a great point, is that moment where an X-Ball does get that double kill in lane, it's like, well, I guess I lose now. This no longer that one really won't impact it anymore. He'll still have a lead, but it won't be 10 free power for him. It's going. This is about smoothing out the power curve on where we can expect him to get that extra power.
Yes.
And so we can see him a little bit more consistently. There's another buff, by the way.
Да, это тоже правда.
Decrease the mana cost
Типа, если он получается ультой там если киллы, типа, если баф для...
Which one are you more excited about, Pon?
I'm more excited about passive.
Wow.
Нерв в начале, баф.
That's a pretty big deal. Let's take a look and see. That was a pretty long god change. We got a little graphic for you here to see exactly what you got going on. Afro, Kepri, Thor, Vamana, X-Ball, Guan. All of your buffs this patch. A couple guys we haven't seen a lot of in pro level play that are getting some love.
Ну, хз, по-моему, Гуан Ю и Афро это лишнее было, так же, как и Кэпри.
Achilles, Nemesis, and Terra.
Кэпри я чуть не помню, но вот Гуан Ю, блин, спасибо, это просто...
That does it for the balanced section. Thank you for joining me, as always. And we gave you a little bit of a preview on some skins earlier. Personally, I want to see some more of that E-United skin, so let's do it.
Ладно.
Это Локи Кабракан. Это Кабракан, да. Надеюсь, что не Локи. Хачиман? Похоже на Уля очень.
Неплохой, кстати, Хачиман. На Уля очень похож только.
Да, да, на Уля очень похож.
Ну, выглядит неплохо, неплохо.
We'll go through some skins, cheer you all up again if again the balance section didn't go your way. Joining me on the casual set this week is Tina back once again, alongside the lovely Ashley and Ben. How you both doing?
Good.
How you doing, man?
Good to see you, Ben. I've not seen you in person.
This is the first time we get to do this, man. It's a real pleasure for me.
Oh, hopefully it goes well. Like, don't get too excited yet.
Okay.
Just in case, you know. Let's start things off with, I don't know, Fenrir?
Yeah, do it. That sounds good.
Fenrir sounds good. Chompy Chippy Fenrir.
Oh.
Who did the card art? Who allowed that to happen?
Seriously.
Это мило.
I'm fine with it.
That's
Yeah.
money.
Чиби Фенрир.
It's my favorite tear skin, too.
Yeah, it's great.
Да, это релик классно.
Poor puppet.
Блин, прикольно.
Yep, if it was my dog, he'd just rip it to shreds.
Картинка такая
Just
милая.
stuffing all over the floor.
Очень круто.
He's so...
О,
Блять.
So we just only really wanted to like kind of leverage.
поменьше крипа, пожалуйста, скажите.
Да, он слишком пиздюганый.
And this one just was a perfect pick. I
Ух,
think.
нифига у него рука.
I love like his hand feels like his front claw just
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
bigger
Не,
than the rest.
неплохо.
We exaggerated some
Ну,
of the
мне
proportions
кажется,
on this
это
one
щас
for it to
слишком
feel a lot
маленький.
better, 'cause you can't
Руки
really
большие
make that,
передние,
right?
очень.
Да, да,
Like,
да,
especially
и
a guy
голова.
like
Это
this.
специально
His
сделано.
face is so expressive.
Не, выглядит
I feel like he's
неплохо.
been pumping iron quite a bit to get to this point.
Прикольные тычки.
Сейчас ульту увидим.
It's a cute little version.
Ульта должна быть топовой.
Who was
Прыжок
the character
прикольный.
artist on this, Ben? Was it Hector?
Yeah, Hector
Yeah,
worked on this.
неплохо. Чем?
He's done
Прикольная
a lot
анимация.
of the
О,
studios
второй
before
очень круто
did
выглядит.
a lot of like kind of
Руки
stylized
горят.
stuff. So he was like a perfect pick to work on this skin.
Yeah, he did a great job.
This skin
А
looks
на
awesome.
третьем.
I love the effects.
Блять, ну это
Yeah,
какие-то
the
звуки
little
кошки.
fire- the little
Звуки, да.
fire- little tiny fire effects.
I'm pretty sure I saw the animation at the start where he chases
Сейчас
his
ульту
tail.
покажет.
Yeah, his that's
that
his
what I
VXG.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, see it.
Ладно.
Yes. He's so cute.
А, он типа за хвостом.
Да, 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 да.
And then obviously he's got his ultimate too. which
Я
is
думал, он
awesome.
просто кружится. Прикольно.
Бля.
Go get him. Get him, Ben, you're gonna boy.
Бля, ну в ульте это жестко выглядит.
This skin looks awesome.
Ну чё, неплохо.
These chibi skins are just...
Могли бы сделать, что типа в ульте он превращается в обычного.
I mean,
Да ну,
Chibi Smite.
Ну такое,
I'm
типа.
trying to check the new ones on the set.
да нормально, нормально. Выглядит
Oh,
нормально.
okay, okay.
Maybe
Само.
they'll leak something ahead of
Yeah, you're trying to
time.
set us up.
Прикольно.
Эмоции классные.
Real quick,
If you
Yeah.
do, then you
Fly
don't come
dog.
back on again.
Вообще иногда
Then
типа
they're gonna need replacement.
Real quick,
горит
can
или
you
что,
dance
типа,
again
когда
in chibi
пылинки,
form?
тут жар
Да, 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 да.
встречный. Это
Dance,
прикольно.
puppet.
Вот
Oh.
смотри, видишь он?
Я видел, да, да, да.
Прикольно.
I love it.
Well, obviously, it comes with a voice pack too, so let's have a listen in.
Yeah.
Yes! You're good. Oh, that was exciting. Oh! You're looking at the alpha.
Хз.
We play fetch.
По-моему, будет очень бесячим войсом.
Не-не, войс прикольный.
Прикольный, но он будет бесячий, рили.
No one can
Да, ты выйди говорить, пока он не будет. Просто послушать.
Yeah, Fenrir's got some great skins, but this is just another
Такое,
one.
такое. Неплохо.
It's Chris Sabat actually who
Нормальный
is his
скин.
base Fenrir. So
Да.
I just
Oh
yeah.
my
Оче- Очередной неплохой чибик,
Yeah,
ничего
he
такого,
is.
типа.
Да, да.
Phenomenal.
That's awesome. Well, that's the Fenrir one.
Ну,
We'll
многим
move
точно
on then
понравился.
to
Реально
the
крутой.
United Cucullin skin,
Кукулин.
which is going to be available. Now, obviously, for you guys who know,
Это
the United win the
Кукулин.
World Championship
О,
every year. We always
прикольно,
win skin for
кстати.
the winners.
Пассивка очень круто
And we get
выглядит.
better and better.
Yeah, this one we wanted to like really get the outfit to be very modern.
Нифига.
Like we touch on the United,
Кстати, на
but
него
it's
еще
just a
Халка
really dope
сделать.
skin overall. And then
Не-не-не.
we play up kind of
О,
some of the abilities.
получи
as we
завтра.
go
Блин,
through.
неплохо он выглядит.
Да, неплохо,
In
рили.
Ben's form, it's Benji, and then in like giant form, it's Pull Their Mic.
Не, реально.
That's kinda what we're looking at here.
Да-да.
Yeah, I love the hairstyle you guys gave him. Yeah, it looks so edgy.
Прикольно,
looks like he's
стильный
actually
такой,
done
скажем.
That's not like a new United player, in my opinion. I can
Ну,
see
скиллы не меняются вроде. Не, желтый.
Не, не
желтый.
меняется желтый. Я думал, синий.
Типа не особо
Here he
меняется.
goes, raging out.
О, пассивка круто выглядит. Вот пассивка рели очень классная.
Прикольно.
Kept his hood on.
So this was like two artists that worked on this
Не,
one,
выглядит он как
Wayne and,
обычный, такие мульти
Richard.
очень круто.
Because it's a double.
Да,
double
да, да,
god.
да,
It's a double god, so but they worked really well in tandem to make
Капюшончики.
sure this came out really
Прикольно.
Да. А ну
So
как
it's
назад
happened to make sure they fit as well, I guess.
well. Oh yeah,
instead.
because like even the
Yeah.
colors and everything, like they're different.
Так.
Не,
materials
желтый
and
скин
textures, so
неплохо,
they all got a
если
lot
О,
of
прыжок
colors
круто
that
выглядит.
line 'em up.
Неплохо.
О, нифига, он
Some
еще так...
logo.
Yep.
Да,
О,
прикольно.
прикольно.
Right? Is it the only time
Скин
you see the
прикольный,
logo,
да.
or is there another-
А что
Согласен.
это командный скин или что?
Да, 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 да. Это с
О,
командой.
это командный скин? Очень
Да.
крутой.
Да.
Вообще какие-то последние скины
Командные?
командные очень крутые.
Да,
Раньше что там,
согласен.
какие-то, блин, футболки добавляли. там,
Чисто рекалоры были, да-да-да. А сейчас
рекалы
рели
еще там
неплохие.
Очки еще добавляли, да, там типа Анкура там, или кто там, Рама, не помню.
Да-да-да.
You gotta
О,
layer
неплохо
out.
выглядит
О,
рели.
нифига.
The suspense we're trying to build.
I
up.
know,
Блин,
right?
круто.
Да, неплохо.
Oh man. All right, do we get to see the sick nasty global emote that comes with this?
Вполне на уровне с этим, с как его, с командным Хроносом.
Я бы сказал, с обычным.
Это эмоция еще. и.
I kind of feel like America.
Europe didn't get that when they won.
Well, they're not America. Sorry.
I'm sure part of that makes Canadian
Жестко,
anyway.
жестко.
Не, прикольно, очень круто выглядит.
He is now, I'm just saying that.
Это глобальная эмоция, да?
Да,
Там
да, 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 да.
не
Just come with a voice back to... Oh, what's concept of it?
What was it?
You gonna show us something?
Глобальная или спец хз.
Глобально.
Hop in the backpack. Try and 1v4 me. See what happens. Wanna hear a joke? Having a teammate who can't aim their Fafnir hammers. An Artemis with Blink? What are they thinking? Wanna hear a joke? Having a teammate who
Вот
can't
это
aim their
прикольная
Fafnir hammers.
шутка.
Про Блинк, да, согласен.
Да, Артемис Блинков. Про что они думают?
Yeah.
Да, четкий скин, его есть неплохой.
Блин, реально круто. Шутки классные, эмоции, блин. Мое
Like I
уважение.
say, you must have got the info from
Yes.
somewhere about Panda Cat getting Blink,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Mike could
yeah.
be able to hit a hammer with
Is-
Fafnir.
Is really, really helpful, and I really appreciate it. So it turned out phenomenal. There it is.
I'm so proud of you two. We can move along from there. We don't need to worry about that anymore. No? We got moment
I believe that word just has 13 F's at the beginning of it.
Я годный скин.
Да, годно рели.
Next
Неплохо.
up is Northern Ranger Hachiman.
О, Хачиман, рейнджер.
I love the bow on this.
На Уля похож.
Да, очень на Уля похож, очень. Рели.
So with
Если
this one, we
синие
were
скиллы,
trying to,
просто топ.
really play. He's in the Slavic
посмотрим.
class, so we wanted to play up a lot of the.
Думаю, не, думаю, такие тьмяно-зеленые будут.
A guy
А,
out there
Как
in
вода, например, он снизу.
синие. Дайте синий, плиз.
Europe
Кстати,
area
на
has
фоне там
him, yeah,
похож
that
чувак
whole area.
на Осириса.
So
Да,
there's
это
a
и
lot of,
есть
like,
Осирис,
like, suits,
Хоуи и
a lot of
Локи.
symbols,
А.
the kind of like the, Slavic
Прикольно
look
выглядит.
to it.
Очень
And then,
прикольно.
there's like they have like an eagle
Только
character, the double-headed eagle, I think,
меч
so we
как-то
kinda
вообще не
play up some of
вписывается.
that in his
Рукоять.
Ничего.
outfit.
I feel like I've learned so much about Slavic culture just working on skins
Yeah,
like
right.
this.
Ну, пока мне нравится. Подожди скиллы, плиз.
Well,
Надеюсь,
it
не
looks dope
синий.
AF, man.
Да, скорее
So
всего,
what about the
синие
bow,
будут там.
Hachiman?
Да, синие. Синие,
Синие.
синие,
Taking the
синие.
bow, that's even
Yeah.
better.
О, синие
He still
тычки!
has the sword. And
Да,
the
синие
horse.
скиллы.
Does he have little
Не,
flappies?
бело-синие такие,
А,
типа.
да что это такое? Нельзя просто синий делать. Ну ладно,
Is that,
синий
what, is
плохо.
that the
doing, right?
actual official?
Да
bow?
ладно.
Those are
Круто
Slavic
выглядит,
flappies.
что ты.
Slavic
Oh.
flappies, yeah.
Бело-синий такой.
Ну, прикольно выглядит, чё?
Если не в сундуке, можно будет поиграть.
I always forget about the horse.
Hachi
reaction,
horsey,
so-
dude.
Блин,
And
прикольно
that's a
выглядит.
whole different
Неплохо.
character as well. Like we had Jack
No,
worked on
escape.
the horse, and Chris Cooner worked on Hachiman. The horse it looks pretty dope.
Ну,
Yeah, they
такой.
did a great job.
I think the horse is still a work in
Типа,
progress right
ничего
now.
сверхъестественного,
Мне
просто.
не нравится, потому что сейчас шутки я
Сейчас ульта будет, тихо.
нежно, так сказать.
Oh, the flag, sorry, not the horse.
Что?
The horse is good.
Oh,
horse
yes.
is
Оно.
good.
We
It's
just,
the flag that was
we
the
just
horse.
flicked the...
Что
Yeah.
медленно, ну,
No,
такой.
No, no, wait, I'm just getting weird from production now, whereas
Yeah,
that's
from
just
slow
like-
mo. We had the flag fixed.
Блядь, со
about a
стороны
year ago,
посмотреть.
so it's still being
Да он
worked
сейчас
on.
сделает, вот.
It's gonna be dope in
Сервекс.
game, we promise.
Here we go.
Magical horse.
There it is. Oh, he's like a buck.
So we gain like
Не-
some like
неплохо.
ram horns and stuff.
Да, неплохо рели. Неплохо. Типа в кельтско-скандинавском стиле. Классно, Риль.
Хз, крутой скин.
Да-да-да, прикольный.
Да, ну все такое сине-белое. Не, прикольно, прикольно. Мне цвет очень нравится. Чуть посинее.
Да ладно, не, мне больше так нравится. Неплохо, Рилли. Неплохо.
Синий. Ну, очень круто, да. Хватные скины.
Тихо.
Exceptional. They hire me for a reason. You don't bring a knife to a bullfight. As a matter of fact, I can speak to animals. I'm exceptionally proficient in squirrel. Squeakity squeak, squeak, squeakity squeakity.
What?
I get that reference.
Неплохий скин, Рилли, хорош.
And that is Hachiman.
Там шутка за пипа не была.
What?
Fat Loki!
Бля, ну вот это вообще спайс. Как можно было такое придумать?
Это точно Локи? Это не так Кабракан.
Это Кабракан.
Кто его знает?
Да ладно, это будет Рилли рофловый Локи.
Да, с такими вещами, да?
Ну это Кабрак. Кабракан,
Да,
по-любому.
известно, что Кабракан.
Блять.
You guys don't know what I know.
Как можно было такое придумать?
Очень похож на Локи.
So our senior producer Blake Harrison is a Loki main.
Are you reading that off paper?
No, I know this off the top of my head.
It's written on the paper.
Nope. No, not at all. Okay. One, he's actually responsible for this inside joke, and I don't really play.
Потому что катка очень очень маленькая катка по длине.
You got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Very close to it.
Можешь пойти на арену и там забить будет.
As you were saying, Blake Harrison
Блять,
is
это
also
пиздец.
point into esports too. So whenever
Толстый Локи.
Очень тупо выглядит.
Бред, блять,
Он
жесть.
сюрикен какой-то ходячий.
So now we've got a skin.
Думаю, ульта сейчас... Как ульта будет выглядеть, интересно? Это очень упорото выглядит, Рилли.
Даже слишком.
Так на арене. Ну, хз тогда. Просто короткая катка. Попробуй быть в трендере. Бля, красиво скиллы выглядят.
Нет, третий неплох.
Чисто под Локи сделано. Вот эта хуйня чисто как у Локи выглядит. Инвиз напоминает, типа. Ульта. О, ай, ебать, я понял. А, сука, ну это дико, это очень дико. Блять.
А, да, кстати, это же как дикой, да, он тоже руками махает. Да.
Ну это ж да.
Ну,
Прикольно было бы...
не люблю. Так что...
Ну, дичь не скинет, честно. Бредово очень.
Да, и вот клинки не очень. Вот сам скиллы неплохие.
Это эмоция, типа... Блядь, ну...
Я
Жестко.
дикой, не бейте меня. Мне вот клинки какие-то не очень.
Да, я согласен.
А так неплохо.
Жестко очень. Жалко, в ульте эти штуки не двигаются, типа как у Локи кукла. Трэш, согласен, полный трэш. Жестко.
Это хорошая штука. Что ты имел в виду, что сказал, что я не Локи? Я даже вес скинул.
Блядь. Жестко.
Still more to come. We've got a new card coming up.
Smite.
We'll be going through that momentarily. But first of all, we're going to head over to
Smite,
Gabby.
Baloki.
And it's Isaiah standing by to talk a little bit about the community.
Hey everybody, it's й-рез here with й-рез Isaiah, and you know, we run into each other and chat all the time and everything, but this is the first time we've actually got to do something together in person.
That's right, and it's a pleasure to have you on the
Тут
show.
активность создаю, отлично.
For sure.
Хотя бы ты
I'm happy
пришел.
to be here. And before we get into community talk, I want to know what is your favorite of the new skins?
Ooh, I mean, you can't pass up Fat Loki, right?
Right?
It is so
Прикольный у
good.
него голос
But,
этого
Northern Ranger Hachimura,
афроамериканца.
the aesthetics on his armor and
Так,
stuff,
давай
yeah,
без
it's
расизма.
top tier.
А что такое?
Он еще и в вадике таком.
Well, we do
Блин,
have
ну
community
очень
talk for you.
прикольно.
So
Как
first of
рэпер
all, why don't you let
какой-то.
everybody know some
Очень
of the
прикольный
upcoming
голос.
events for everyone?
Yeah, most definitely. So this weekend, players can earn first one of the. If you get first one of the day, you can earn yourself a QT avatar chest. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as long as you win one game, you can get.
Ссылочки будут даваться.
And then
С этими, с
С аватарками, да. Ну это же было новостью.
We know we have some awesome artists out there, so we're looking for your help in determining one of this year's skins.
Работа еще. Чуваки, кто там в чате умеет рисовать? А ну. Наших 10% за рекламу.
You have until May 9th to send us your submissions.
Have you combed through and found some really cool community artists out there?
Yeah, definitely some cool winter themed skins and then some really, really scary stuff. I saw a spider Kepri online, and I don't do spiders. I had to close my monitor like immediately.
Он очень медленно говорит.
Right, yeah, I was done.
So for anyone that wants to go ahead and enter that competition,
Что-то он видел там паука Кэп, я не понял, это типа милашки или это сколько скина?
So I am definitely going for the winter themes because I'm all about like the icy blues, the snow, and if you guys can get a cool winter themed assassin, I don't think we have one of those yet.
You heard it here, everybody. So keep that in mind when you're creating your content.
Это Арти сидит. Да-да-да. Афроамериканская версия.
Because we actually have a major land coming up with the end of the SPL, and I know you were keeping up with the SPL as it was going on. So going into it straight off the bat, what was the team that you're rooting for?
Rooting for this split, definitely Space Station. I am.
Да, я понял, я же говорю, афроамериканская версия.
You got a root for him.
Это Арти сидит слева. Да не, справа.
There's a possibility for a rematch from this year's World Finals between United and Rival, and if that happens, it's going to be a set.
For anybody that doesn't know who exactly is attending this LAN, we've got Team Rival and Team Dignitas from EU, Space Station Gaming, and United for NA. And then the LATAM representative will actually be determined on the first day of the LAN between Weissel Serial and Nocturnes.
Как всегда, много интересной информации.
We got Serval for OCE and Mashu Boys rounding it out with SEA. And this is one of the longest LANs actually that's going to be coming through with Smite. What are you looking forward to most with the clashing of all these teams?
I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is it's always cool to see international teams come in and compete, right? We see EU and NA all the time, but if you don't necessarily have time to keep up with the Smite Global Series, you're going to see, the #1 seed from all of these regions come and compete on LAN, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of the details have been released on our esports website, esports.smitegame.com. That's where you can find information about prizing, which is a $65,000 prize pool for those teams. So big chunks to be coming out of that. But we also have the SML matches that are going to be going on.
й-рез всегда найдут время, чтобы порекламировать что-то.
Anxiety onset for NA, and then we have Insignum for EU. Have you been keeping up with the SML?
I've been keeping up with the SML. I was rooting for Voltic. They didn't make it, unfortunately, so Anxiety onset all the way.
Yeah. Another day, maybe another day. Yeah. It's $10,000 on the line for those teams as well. And these will actually be broadcasted across the board on all of our platforms, including mixer.com/SmiteGame. And this is May 9th through 13th. How are you prepping for your watching of this amazing
event? I'm prepping right now. I'm getting MLC Stealth to get the community cube ready. We're stocking up on snacks. We're going to have a great party. It's going to be awesome.
Party in the house, everybody. Well, I'm excited to have been here in the Watch No Show. Of course, we do have the God coming up that I know you're all super excited for. But before we send it over to Hindu, let's have a little teaser of our own.
Что, но анимацию не делать умеют.
Ну
неплохо, чё.
Я просто что, типа, блядь, типа, вообще на славянское не похоже. Ну ладно.
On this set today will be Clumsy and AJ from the design team to break down this god, and of course Ben's going to come from the art department to break this down too. Chernobog, is that what he said? Chernobog?
Yep, Chernobog. Chernobog.
I got it right.
You did.
Awesome. It
Close
doesn't
enough.
happen very often.
There's a lot of ways to spell that name. You still say Thoth wrong, but it's fine.
Они так его читают.
There's like 10 different pronunciations for that god, and like 5 of them are technically correct, depending on which culture. And I think you're still one of the wrong ones. Yeah, I think you're not supposed to try that one. It's all right though.
Not even.
Let's talk about Chernobog.
Yeah.
Chernobog, anyway.
That intro is so hype. I love that bit of art that we've got there.
Very interesting.
He's scary.
He's dope.
We've discussed a lot of things as well. Like we've released a couple of things about some of the kit already, so there's a lot of hype around this too. I guess the first thing to really come to you, Ben, is like the design of this god, of like the art style. What was the like direction, or what direction were we looking for here?
Well, we got a lot of our direction actually from like the abilities and from the design team. Mark Ross is the concept artist that worked on it, and he did a nice job at kind of trying to like really play up the demonic and like kind of the evil aspects of this guy. AJ will play into that later, and Clumsy will talk about as well, the kind of like the actual attitude of the character. But we wanted to really sell that with the design. And he's got like he's like a hunter, so he's got this really cool, instead of it being like a traditional kind of hunter weapon, we tried to do this crystal thing. I thought it was pretty unique, and it like really as this like the presence that he has, where it's kind of like he's effortlessly kind of like making attacks and stuff. Yeah, man, and the wings, dope. Anybody with wings, cool.
We've had a lot of skins in the past with like demon feel to them, but we've never had an actual demonic god.
Right. So and we've had other gods that are kind of like demonic, but more of a scary, creepy way. Like this is like demonic, but it's like in a stoic kind of way, I think.
So you guys on the tell me a little bit about the lore. What's going on with Chernobog? What's he about? Obviously, demonic. Why is he demonic?
Просто кристаллом будет бросаться, скорее всего.
So there's not
да, но все равно, они так все говорили, там, уникальными.
The famine, the illness that comes. Yeah, exactly. He is, the wintry months that come after you had this beautiful year. He's the inevitable darkness is what we like to say.
You should like actually go in there and kind of like just
do that. Я читал его скип, это очень жестко было.
Here comes Chernobog, the evil before the wintry months, all that stuff.
Darkness. Yeah. He'll be using that in the casts, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, it's literally what esports off season is for me. Like, the dark and the evil and the curse.
So a lot of his lore is tied to his brother Belobog, which is why we're embracing this kind of inevitable darkness, because Belobog is the good. And there needs to be balance. There needs to be both. So they exist as necessary parts of kind of the same concept, which there's ever-changing cycles in life. Yeah. And there's one specific reference to Chernobog in the lore.
Yeah, so there's only one real thing, and there's a Saxon missionary Helmold who observed during feasts and festivities that a bowl was passed around, and they would utter curses in the name of Chernobog, and also they'd say blessings in the name of his brother Belobog into the bowl.
Curse Zeus.
Hey,
just Agro's hatred.
Agro can't defend himself. That's not cool.
Yes, Zeus.
So yeah, we kind of drew on that. He has a lot of different depictions and a lot of different types of fantasy and other games and movies and stuff like that.
Sure.
And we saw a very recurring theme, which is just this kind of embodiment of darkness and shadow. And to us, that meant a lot of demon and some inhuman features, but we wanted to bring some aspect of humanity to him to really bring him that.
Могли бы это объяснить во время того,
как демонстрируют. Они его показали. Дальше они рассказывают, как они его типа выбрали, можно сказать, типа история. Говорит, что они в фильмах там его смотрели, что очень много им понравился именно это. Просто рассказывают, что все нормально.
Могли бы пиздеть это на фоне того, как показывает Бога.
And that's kind of where we took Chernobog from. So we took this human, very strong human core and tried to infuse it with some demonic elements. And of course, from just a very design gameplay art perspective, hunters that don't just use bows, I mean, is always something we go for. So the last couple hunters, I mean, Hachiman, he was an exception because it fit him really well and he looked really cool. It was great. But we did Kernanos before that. And we tried to do some more unique weapons. I do a bow eventually because bows are awesome too. But we were really liking this idea of him almost summoning darkness and cold just out of nowhere and then hurling it at you and hurting you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be really worried that you're talking about even though you think life's going good, oh my god, this kit is gonna be insane, right?
It's a little bit of that, but this is more of a thematic. This encouraged us when we were first getting started about how we should look and how we should act.
Yep, exactly.
And as far as how we should act, we're going for kind of this super villain. He's almost effortless. He's doing these crazy attacks too, but he's not working very hard. He's not grunting like he's lifting heavy objects. He's just waving his hand and then hundreds of crystal shards shattering through you.
So
I think this really ties him together as this really great villain.
Well, let's get into game. Enough talk. Let's get into game and have a little look at this. Because you mentioned things about crystals, and I still don't understand. I've seen card art.
We'll see them. We'll see them.
Need to see it.
We only showed a little bit beforehand, but now we're going to see some crazy stuff.
Наконец-то.
That's not in game.
Yes, we've seen. Give Pom a second.
Okay.
There we go. Look at
his model.
Чем-то он Локи напоминает.
So he's got some cool things. He stands sometimes, but when he moves, he flies. He hovers.
Okay.
So you'll see him get up when Pon's done panning around.
У него очень много всяких скинов прикольных он сделал.
You'll be hovering.
Да он и без скида круто очень выглядит.
If you're gonna stand still, you don't need to fly, do you? You can just stand.
Yeah, exactly. This is part of his laid back. We want him to just land, right? He's cool with that.
And that's
Он летает
So
еще.
he's a glider. He's not a walker. He's not striding across the battlefield.
Анимация крыльев во время взмаха очень классная.
Into these crystals, so you'll see them in his abilities, but also just on his character when Palm was penning around there.
Прикольно.
So the artist that worked on this was Chris Spooner.
Ну давайте, покажите автоатаку.
When he was working on a previous model, I think it was Cucullin, like some sort of demonic version of Cucullin. There was like some crystals.
Ничего такого, типа автоатаки как автоатаки.
Я думал, типа кристалл побольше будет, или их больше.
Представлен,
Типа такой прям,
не видел.
Типа здоровенный кусок.
Yeah, Mark on the concept and Chris on the model.
Неплохая анимация.
Сейчас посмотрим скиллы.
Beautiful god artwork wise.
Well, we just saw the auto attacks too, and at first I was like, hang on, he's left-handed.
Вяленько. Да, я тоже ждал более чего-то такого.
Okay, and that's crystals that he's firing. That's what he projects.
Look, you can see the actual wall
Пока что с двух рук стреляет.
Мне было прикольнее, если бы из одной.
That's one of those advances with how Smite as time's got on, because Skins had it with like Afro's cat, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
And now we're actually putting it into God.
We build up a little bit of kit of things we can do, man.
Yeah,
if we do like work on a skin that has an ability, we try to sell it on the next thing if we can.
Это новый фонтан, что ли, был?
What we wanted to do too with this guy is because we wanted to kind of make him feel a little bit more like uncomfortable to look at, and part of it with that was like his proportions. He's got a little bit exaggeration of his proportions in it. We went enough where it doesn't. We went not enough where it went like super crazy, but enough where it feels like when you look at him, you're like, man, this guy is just really freaking creepy. Like his hands look pretty big, is a little lanky to him.
Давайте скиллы.
I think it works really well for the guy.
It's subtle. It ties into kind of that feeling of like lurking evil that I was mentioning. So he, at a glance, he's like, oh, he's very attractive.
Мне кажется, у него ульта будет просто под цвет всех врагов на карте. Что-то такое. Чисто просто типа как уж баланки, глобальная ему ульта. Вот и все.
Scarier claws and his feet are very inhuman actually. So
there's a method to the madness when we do these things.
Well, I guess it's time to go into the actual kit. I guess next. Oh, would you like to do the voice pack?
I think we're going to do voice pack first, because this is a very special voice pack.
Yep, that's true.
Oh, he does?
Yes, we have Doug Cockle, a well-known voice actor who voiced Chernobog. He's most well-known for his work in the Witcher series games. He's also been in many TV shows and movies. He's appeared in Band of Brothers, he's in Captain America.
Что так рассказываете, чуваки, которые войспаки делают первый раз? Типа, кого не пригласили, оно даже интересно стало.
Не, он честно просто.
Какой-то чувак, что ведьминские эти штуки озвучивает. Окей,
Ведьмака озвучивал, а не ведьмацкие штуки.
А, Ведьмака? Ну,
Да, точно Ведьмака озвучивал.
Tina's been doing amazingly.
Let's go.
You might even be as good as me. How fortuitous. Of course, I am the greatest. Beware every dark place, each sinister shadow, for I am everywhere. I had a fight with my brother, and it was like night and day.
Nice.
I created night and day.
I love the little accent.
Охуенный вейспак. Топовый просто. Чувак, очень классный вейспак. Пиздец, топчик.
Кстати, прикольная анимация, когда он прыгает.
Да.
That is what we want. He's like,
overly forced or
not at all.
It's just a little deeper, so he feels a little bit supernatural, but he's still very clear. He's not crazy like a monster. And the voice lines are great, clumsy, well written. I love. There's some foreshadowing to the kit even there in the taunts and jokes. Yeah. So
hold up 1 second as well. Though. There was a note here saying there's an advanced pack as well.
Yes, that we did also make a Чернобога announcer pack.
Really?
I think that's going to be part of the Slavic event.
Анонсер пак
So you'll
Чернобога.
get that sometime. I'm not exactly sure when. It might not be available this patch, but we did make that.
Voiced by Cockle as well, then. Right?
Yes, exactly. Of course. Same awesome. Great actor. So you can have him going pentakill and stuff, but as Чернобога.
Ой, еще ты самый актер будет звучит.
Это очень круто, потому что войс у него очень крутой.
Но они сказали, что не в этом патче.
Ясно, да, я понял.
Ну все равно круто, что сделали. С этим...
Что, Габа скопировали? Почему?
Ну он похож на своего?
Да, кстати, похож. Ну, похож, да, но...
Ну типа летает, да, тоже тычки, но не то.
Хз, да.
Не то.
Это пассивка была? Это пассивка.
Третий удар какой-то уешь.
Да. Я понял. Это прикольно. То есть его неплохо будет в скорости атаки собирать, по-любому.
So actually, every target you hit is going to have a special mesh attached to them, and the stacks last them 5 seconds.
Неплохо, неплохо.
Неплохо, да. И там радиус такой приличный сейчас.
Бля, это круто.
Yeah, we did something a little bit different. So you can actually see the meshes sticking inside the Odin, so that's 2 stacks. And then when he pops that, it's 23. It's also a little bit different effect on minions.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of different.
They're smaller and all varying different
Оно
sizes.
стекается именно на, типа, на врагу. Именно на того, кого ты дамажишь. Вот. Стекается. Видишь, типа? Оп, оп.
Да, и третий,
It's going to synergize really well with the rest of his kit. Once you start getting some attack speed online and you start hitting the late game, you're going to be getting those passive procs really often. What did I call it? It's hard to call.
Нет, я про то, что если ты начинаешь автотащить одного врага, потом второго, то оно не будет стекаться так, типа.
Да, да, на враге.
Successful basic attacks,
Прикольно.
which is really cool. This is like kind of what you want to be doing anyway as a hunter. So now
в дуэльках это будет жестко.
Just find one hunter on my team that could do that. I'd be happy.
It can be tricky to stack this on minions in the lane as they'll be moving and shifting around a lot and stuff like that. But when you're just boxing with the other hunter and you pull this off, it feels great.
Неплохо, really.
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah, you as a support player, and me too, Hindu man. Watch out, because I've had this thing stacked on me quite a bit, especially if you're playing like Kepri or something like that. You're a big old target.
And the AoE, also why it might be small, does help in the minion wave. You know, it augments the wave clear just a little bit.
Okay, let's get on to the first ability. AJ, what does this do?
So this ability is a ranged circle attack. Crystallized curses.
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking it would be called that.
This is, of course you did. Well, this is
Это будет походу как в Дискорде.
right?
Скилл вот этот с шариками, только вот этот.
And collect their curses, almost like venting their angers, because that was a healthy thing to do, to embrace the good and the bad. So here we have those curses turned into an ability. So this is a ranged AoE circle that he throws out in front of him. It deals damage on impact, and then it lingers there for a little while, and then it explodes. So it deals damage on impact, and then it deals damage again on explode and roots. So it doesn't deal any damage during the middle part. It's just kind of warm up.
Oh, it takes a bit of a while.
Yeah, and there's no there's not a blocking volume there. That's just for effect. You can walk through the crystal.
Okay.
So
Подфриживает чутко, так что извиняйте уж.
It's just a delayed explosion.
And if someone's inside that, they get rooted.
Могу просто 620 давать.
The effects team, yeah, and modeling actually worked on the crystal, and it's really cool. And the audio is great too. If you listen closely, you can hear like this kind of demonic whispering by the ability. It's got a very horror movie feel to it.
Ну там пишет... Я не понимаю, типа, он носит дамаг, а если стоишь, то типа носит еще раз, да? 60.
Оно... Нет. Оно стопит.
And what it is, it's a wider and longer piercing basic attack. It has no extra damage by itself. And then following the basic attack, following that piercing shot, you actually get an attack speed steroid.
Oh.
But the fun thing here is that if you fire off your AO1 ability, so that's going to be his AO2, and then you have the attack speed buff afterwards. You fire the AO1 and throw the second shot, Vicious Barrage, it actually explodes early. So you deal the damage.
Ни хрена себе.
As well.
It's the old 1-2 combo.
Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch.
И это еще, когда он его активирует, увеличить скорость атаки. Капец, как жестко.
Yeah, I mean, and especially targets with high move speed that are moving around, it can be tough to detonate.
Ну, блядь, это жестко.
Да, реально жестко.
На арене это будет очень круто заходить. Под арест тоже классно. Жесткий.
And then you get a lot of flexibility with it too, which is really unique.
And one thing that Pawn's showing off right now, actually, because it is a basic attack, it's actually stacking that passive. It's applying those crystal meshes.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, exactly.
It also
not
can
only
crit.
that, but as Pawn's showing here,
it can crit.
It can lifesteal. It's a basic
Sorry, I didn't
attack.
shout down the mag, then I was more.
Да, она критует.
It's a piercing basic attack, but it does no extra damage, so it's like actually a relatively.
Вот это жестко, это очень жестко.
Ты видел? Там
да.
идет еще топ-дамаг.
Я вижу, да, ну топ-дамаг, да, понятно, да. Это жестко, рили. Очень жесткий скилл. Это как ультовых музыкапа, только сквозь все. Очень жестко. Ну, надо просто что-то точное, типа, пролезать сквозь все. Неплохо, рили. Сейчас эскейп покажут, но эскейп там жесткий, по идее.
And there's a little bit of a different change to his animation and audio and effects when he's firing the souped up basics.
Кстати, автоатаки быстрые.
Да, и выглядит, честно...
Да, это же по скиллам, очевидно. Жестко.
Не, блин, и выглядит, честно, нормально. Не так, что там криво. Неплохо выглядит.
Да понятно, что неплохо, но, блин, ну... Это жесткие 2 скилла уже.
He does.
In case of those emergencies when those first are cooldown.
And this ability is really cool. This is the one that actually, you know, data mining got a little bit of interaction with walls, and people were really interested.
Потому что они написали, ну, блядь, это...
a lot more detail about this one because we're really excited about this ability and it's really fun. So, Into Darkness is Chernobog's dash.
It's like I named this kit myself.
Well, I love that. You know when the casters like the names, it makes your job easier, right?
Да.
Oh, we shouldn't have called this Whirlwind of Shadow and Darkness.
Жесть, можете просто застрять в этом.
Да. Там же они выкидывали это. Да.
Наносит дамаг, замедляет.
Выглядит красиво. И в стенку можешь залезать. Да.
Нифига, еще раз?
Ну, да. Я же тебе рассказывал. Жестко.
You're just gonna get popped out of the wall.
You don't come out. You don't like fire out.
You just you'll dash out of the wall.
You dash out on timeout, or you just fall.
You dash out of timeout.
Okay, out of timeout, or when you refire.
Yes, correct.
You will dash back out of the wall.
Can you dash into wall to wall?
You cannot.
That would be a little bit too much.
I mean, yeah, no, that's what I was just making sure, because everyone's gonna be like, wait, what?
So this ability, you can get a little bit of obviously range extension by using it near a wall. You can go further, or you can hit twice with it.
Yep.
But the biggest feature is using the wall to evade things. So you could see when he goes into the wall that his, as you were if you were an enemy, you will see his health bar and things disappear.
He can't see him in the wall.
He can't be. You can only see the effects. Yeah, and he's untargetable and invulnerable during the wall, so he can't take any damage or have it hit by anything. So you could be in the middle of a Vulcan ult that's overlapping the wall, and you just dash into the wall, it'll explode right in front of you, and you'll be fine. And you can dash right out.
А даже если ты кривой, можно что хочешь скейпнуть.
It's very strong when you learn to use it well.
Yeah, I'm looking at your looks at me, but it's a very strong ability, but
once
you start playing around it and playing against him, you'll start noticing that he's going to be doing the same kind of patterns. You know, usually if he's dashing into a wall, he's going to dash out in an area of safety, so you can, you know, Ymir wall him, you get ready by positioning yourself kind of where he's going to be dashing out.
Yeah, enemies can really surround him when he's in the shadow.
Если оно типа не позволяет, короче, если оно позволяет в стенку Ymira залезать в ульту Одина, то да, это очень жестко будет.
This ability is so fun. You can dash into player.
Один ультует, ты сразу эскейпаешься, и тебе пофиг. Это блитрили жестко.
И получается, он ведь здесь как вылазит, он через стенку проходит. То есть ты можешь слиться в ульту Одина, да, и сразу...
Не, на другую сторону ты не можешь.
Можно.
Нет, нельзя проходить сквозь эти. Ты не входишь в нее, ты становишься типа тенью.
No, because that's a pet.
That's a pet, not pet. So look, he's in the Vulcan walls.
Yeah.
We had a great playtest the other day where I was running away, I got hit by a Vulcan ult, I took the damage, and then I just dashed into the wall to avoid like a whole bunch of people trying to follow up on me.
Well, this is a good thing in a weird way, because you can actually like help out your Chernobog
by creating the wall.
For a wall up and
Sure.
go, jump in it, boy.
Oh, yeah. You can,
I'm
yeah.
on my way.
Yeah, you can. That's a pretty
Да,
S-tier
да.
play, but it's totally doable.
Жестко, really.
I like that. Terra support could just summon wall if he's in the middle of the lane, he's not near any walls. You could summon one near him and let him dash into
Now
it.
you're gonna make me go confused because if Terra puts the walls down.
Yep.
Видишь, нельзя.
So when a player deployable expires, he actually just does pop out of it.
Yeah, he'll just fall out.
Okay.
He might actually ride the wall a little bit of the waves
жестко.
before it explodes. It's not very far. I guess half the distance.
It's just good to know these interactions ahead of text.
If we ever make a moving wall, he'll have...
Чисто в ульте Одина 3 секунды стоишь, почти всю ульту отстоял, очень жестко.
Терра, easy сейв, правда?
Да.
Если стенка далеко...
Комбинировать с Террой этого перса очень жестко. Она ставит любую эту штуку, и он очень далеко эскейпает.
Если ты такой, это всегда стенка есть, не близко. Вот в конквесте иногда не получается. Вот Терра тебе поставила, и все, изи.
Да, но это жестко все равно. Очень. Капец. Блять. И вот ульта.
With this ultimate, he's going to channel on the ground for 1.4 seconds, and during that time, he's actually going to spawn shadow bots of himself on every enemy, revealing them.
What he does here?
They're going to be everywhere.
All
the
bots
shadows are going to be right there.
Может тепехнуться на... они замедляют их, и он может тепехнуться.
Это жестко.
Замедление еще.
Чувак в тимфайте, это пиздец.
А если тепехается что, просто? Ты его знаешь. Что, блин, так долго, что это капец.
Чувак, это на всю карту.
Нормально.
Это очень жестко.
Фу.
Вот это жестко.
Он еще получает баф после этого.
Да. Пиздец. Ну, анимация очень круто выглядит.
Да, очень. Не то, что ты пэхается, а реально.
Блять, это пиздец. Сделали бы на ограниченное расстояние хотя бы. Пиздец жестко. Да уж. Кинь Владу, короче, этот стрим наш, пусть посмотрит эту хуйню. Это пиздец. Дичь.
Он показывает, замедляет, может и пэхаться, еще какой-то баф получает.
Баф урона там 40% вроде на максимальном уровне.
Показывает, может и пэхаться. Он еще во время ульты неуязвим, сколько там, где-то 3 секунды.
Да не, какой 3 там очень долго, смотри.
4 секунды, ты ультанул? 4 секунды
Нет,
подождал.
да ладно, там 5 секунд ульта, чувак.
5 секунд, окей, подождал, да?
Просто
дальше
пиздец.
Приземлился, еще в стенке 3 секунды подождал, нормально, правда?
Жестко, очень жестко.
Ты пэхнулся союзнику на фонтан и прийти назад. Изи, просто.
Да, согласен, ебурит. Курит. Похуй. Ну ебурит это хуйня тоже жестко, пиздец, блядь. Это очень дико.
It's harder to use than you think.
Like, at a base level of understanding that, that's all.
In a lot of cases,
ульта это просто пиздец. Ну, да, КД долго, я согласен. Ну, блядь, пиздец.
А если бы было маленькое?
Да ладно, это еще без стекера.
Two things really. One is the information, right?
Yeah.
You can use it to reveal. You can see if enemy teams pushing objectives.
Пиздец, да ладно, ну это...
You can use it to stop.
Это просто пиздец.
Всех замечает, просто жесть.
No, he has to go to an enemy.
Он слишком небалансный будет.
Особенно в конквесте, это очень жестко.
Да.
Всех заметить, показать на карте, там всех пускать. Капец просто.
Or CC or anything like an ultimate. So he just buffs himself. So even after he gets there, the Чернобога player has to follow up and land a bunch of skills and basic attacks to do
Было
it.
прикольно, если бы не было бесов, когда он летит. А Великс такая, сюда иди.
Да, это вы говорили жестко. Да, на конквесте жестко.
And also, every one of your shots while you've got that buff will proc your passive. So you'll see right here, every single shot to that AoE.
Не, это просто пиздец.
It's a very unique ultimate. It does a lot of things that you normally can't do in Smite. You really, if you're playing against Чернобога, it's like that new WoW feeling, but worse. If you're low health,
У него есть все, это слишком жестко, really.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna pay for it.
Escape
So that's actually
просто
funny
не
because the shadows
было.
don't
Ба.
damage themselves.
Перевыше.
Chernobog doesn't go right towards you. You can just recall while the shadows.
Чувак, еще тавр не пиздит в эскейпе.
You've got a lot of ways to evade it, and you can bait him into getting
Жестко, это really жестко.
by enemies and stuff like that.
There's gonna be some greedy players that are gonna be flying
There's gonna be a
around.
lot of
It has a lot of very interesting.
Он очень сильно будет ебашить.
Which is really the best thing
Естественно,
about the
уешь, а
ultimate. You know,
потом
we want to be
они
careful to
очень
avoid any
крутые.
sort of like instant unmissable damage. So all of this is very much dictated.
Ты
by
прикинь, в
player choice
конквесте
strategy.
пиздишься в одном конце карты, а в другом есть враг, и ты просто тпшишься к нему и уходишь.
Не, понимаешь, тут вот всегда проблема-то, например, убить там кто-то один ходит или в тимфайте, а ты взял, убил там кого-то одиночного, взял, прилетел в тимфайт и
So the big area is all viable options. So there's like the really one enemy in the area really far away. It makes it a little easier to hit. But then the center circle.
Самое главное, что...
Отвечаю, даже Локи в инвизе отхватывает от тавра. Это пиздец.
It's a super
Очень жестко, честно, очень жестко.
Strange applications and player choice involved.
Now you mentioned a little bit about playstyle of this. Clumsy, what kind of playstyles are we looking for with this? What's he usually good with?
Понимаешь, что ты противнику? Это такой жесткий эскейп, что ты можешь тыпаться, 10 секунд в стены типа стоять, пока кто-то подойдет, и все изи.
They actually don't do that much damage early. Their base damage is pretty low. Their scaling is, gets there later on. He pairs really well with anyone, another guardian that can help deal damage in lane, as well as lock people down. Because if you notice, the only CC he really has is, some slows and a root. It's a 1 second root at all ranks. It's not very much. So if you have someone like a Ymir, a Geb, a Sylvanas, they can help lock enemies down for you to deal the damage to.
Who does he struggle against?
Well, he struggles against fast characters. So characters like with a lot of movement speed stims. Yeah, Susano, Soul. Because they just have high base movement, or like hell even, because they're the healer.
Хорошо, хоть на союзников нельзя тпшиться. Это было вообще жестко.
Actually takes a good bit of time to deploy like those characters, even if you lead them perfectly, they can like see them in the area and you turn out in time. So that's why the Guardians that Clumsy mentions he plays well with, he really appreciates the setup, because then he can hit his 1-2 combo and a follow-up basic like really consistently. And if he has fast movement speed characters against him, it's so hard to hit the 1-2 combo on like a full movement speed boot, like a boost and another movement speed item like a katana. It's so hard to hit.
В 3 на 3 берешь, короче, Локи, Ахилла и вот эту хуйню, это вообще пиздец будет.
You appreciate the setup and you got to watch out for those fast characters.
So he's gonna be careful of CC.
Ладно, там его одного хватит.
Yeah. Also, his
От него уебать же невозможно будет. Это просто дичь.
А убежать ему вообще изи.
Согласен. Бедная Фида.
Представляешь, это такой в тимфайт, сразу ставишь звездочку, второй скилл по всем, все скиллы по всем.
Чувак, ты, блядь, все файтятся, ты где-то далеко. Ты знаешь, что прикол? Все могут файтиться, а ты можешь на изи тавер пойти попиздить и в последний момент просто взять и прилететь.
Ну да.
Это пиздец. Это очень жестко будет.
Well, that's a playstyle. Now he does have a recolor as well, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
Diabol.
Of course.
Да уж.
It's a fancy
Реколор.
А, синий.
О, прикольный. Очень прикольный.
Нет,
это не золото случайно?
Нет, это реколор.
Да, о, не, прикольный. Прикольный, рили.
Ого-го. Блин, вот за реколор он вообще крутой.
Блядь, ну он очень ебанутый.
Тор, Афина. Да, Тор, Афина и Нюва. Они все вместе просто плачут.
Блядь, почему всегда реколоры лучше выглядят, чем оригиналы? О, легендарку показали. Здесь легендарку тоже покажут. Легендарный должен похвалить.
So here he is creeping out of a shadow wall, which I love the reference to the kit here. He's actually like falling off the wall, which you can actually literally do.
I will say there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to be upset because they have mini games where the new god comes out, they try and
Да, ну легендарный должен еще круче выглядеть. С черным он будет вообще жестко.
Now with that, they can actually show off that they're the first diamond Chernobog. They'll actually be able to show you that before the patch. Normally you'd have to wait, and no one would be able to see that you're diamond except for the loading screen. Now you can really show that off.
О,
So I love how
во, легендарный. Вот это рили круто.
Очень круто. Вот этот эффект на крыльях.
Да. Чётенько.
his anatomy with the crystals.
С текстурками Рили постарались. Круто очень. Даймонд. О, Даймонд тоже неплохо выглядит.
Тоже круто.
I don't know what it is. The diamond.
No, it's got. You don't have to say much. Just look at that.
And one thing Ben and I were still looking at is we know the diamonds looking a little greener sometimes in some of these characters has to do with some complex ways that materials interact.
Согласен. Судя по тому, как не вводят новых богов, это будет пиздец.
Hey, I'm sorry.
What'd you throw? Transmission.
Бля,
наконечник на крыльях. Бриллиантовый, очень круто смотрится, зеленый.
Бля, классно, да.
Blue by the time the patch actually.
Кстати, тычки прикольные.
Yeah.
It's very exciting to see him get played. Chernobog is going to be very exciting.
Super exciting, God.
Our favorite thing in the patch, guys. We'll just go through that real quick. Clumsy?
Yeah, come on.
Right?
Chernobog. I gotta work on that.
I mean, I'll switch it up and I'll say Divine Uprising.
Именно не будет в этом патче, да?
3 new gods.
That's true.
So what's better than 1 new god?
3
new gods. And what's better than 1 new pantheon? 3 new pantheons.
Что может быть лучше, чем один бог? 3 бога. Что может быть лучше, чем один пантеон? 3 пантеона.
Блять.
Oh yes.
Я надеюсь, я вижу мага.
I was checking while I was off camera, and
it was like a play Loki without feeling bad about playing Loki.
Reddit comments about this patch were 99% fat Loki, and then 2 other people like, oh, new god, I guess that's cool.
Well, thanks a lot again for this week, and you guys at home. First of all, PTS should be around available on Friday.
Ну, в четверг еще будет ПТС, так что на ПТС еще посмотрим.
Он написал в пятницу, сказал в пятницу.
В пятницу? Ну, я читал на этом, на форуме вроде было в четверг.
Ну, он только что вот это сказал, ведущий, типа, где-то так показал рукой в пятницу.
Похуй. Пойма, посмотрим, короче. Чего есть?
And it's still free.
Да-да-да.
Over 1 million players have already played it as well, so make sure you go and check it out. And upvote it.
Ты можешь сделать пенту на арене, короче, фастом ты пошнется на базу, отхилиться и ультануть, сделать еще одну. Блять. Главное успеть его по таймингу. Это жестко. Бля.
Не, ну на арене это без.
Ну.
Это уже паладины начались.
Да.
Что это такое? Это новая игра ихняя?
Хз, ну, за рекламу не платили. Так что да. Ладно, спасибо, кто пришел. Типа, новый бог очень жесткий. Особенности ульта. Посмотрим еще на тесте, короче. Четверг, пятница, где-то так, типа. Когда он там выйдет. Вот. Будет стрим, посмотрим. Вот. Сейчас будет стрим по Смайту, просто по ебашим. Так что приходите, кому интересно. Все, всем спасибо, всем пока.